With the release of The Witcher Blood Origin on Christmas Day, Netflix was certainly hoping that people would be talking about The Witcher at the end of 2022. But unfortunately, people were talking about it for all the wrong reasons. Just months after finding out the bombshell news that Henry Cavill was leaving The Witcher because he didn't appreciate that the people at Netflix, the writers, the showrunner, everybody had no respect for the source material. They wanted to do their own thing based on identity politics, and he said, you know what? I'm done. The perfect person to play Geralt says, fuck it, I'm out of here. He bounced. And that reveals so much about what Netflix has been doing with The Witcher. And then along came Blood Origin, the worst Netflix audience score of all time. Now, of course, when this was written for The Witcher Blood Origin, it was all the way down at 9%. It had a big rebound in the recent weeks, all the way up to a 13% audience score. But at the end of the day, you know, even if the audience hated it, even if people went out there and said, we don't like it, if it was actually getting ratings, at least then Netflix could say something, right? They could at least come back and say, well, all these people said they hated it, but look at the numbers don't lie. Unfortunately, here we are, a little over 2 weeks after the release of The Witcher Blood Origin. And where is it? We heard all the bragging that it was #1 on Netflix. Yeah, it was #1 on the day it released, and it immediately then fell out of that top spot because it had no legs. It had no click-through rate. People tuned in, and it was one of the worst, most cringe things they'd ever watched. They couldn't believe that this was actually meant to be a serious production. Well, like I said, here we are. And the week after it came out, it was already out of the top 10. These are the top 10 numbers in the United States, January 2nd through January 8th. So keep in mind, it was in the top 10 for one singular week, December 26th through January 1st. It was released on Christmas Day. It got all the way up to 4th. Was in the top 10 for 1 week, and now is completely and totally disappeared. It's nowhere on this list for Netflix. You've got Ginny in Georgia, Kaleidoscope, Wednesday, Ginny in Georgia, Season 1, New Amsterdam, Madoff, Emily in Paris, The Recruit, The Circle, Season 5, The Walking Dead, Season 11. No Witcher Blood Origin to be found. It's hard to actually describe what a disaster this is for Netflix, because when you do look at some of the top shows in Netflix history, The Witcher was right up there. Witcher Season 1 and 2 were right up there. If you take a look, Netflix 15 most streamed shows of all time. This list was just updated a week and a half ago. Now that includes things like Wednesday, things like Dahmer that have happened in recent weeks and months. Now, here's this list. Squid Game Season 1, Stranger Things Season 4. I should update. Wednesday's actually past Stranger Things since this article is written, so we gotta update the resume there. Dahmer, Money Heist, Bridgerton, Money Heist, Stranger Things again, Lucifer, All of Us Are Dead, The Witcher Season 1. For a long time it was in the top 10. I actually think that The Witcher Season 2, right now it's at the 16th most streamed thing in Netflix history in terms of series. So I think it was at one point in the top 10 as well before a couple of these other things leapfrogged it. You're talking about what they thought would be a massive anchor for them for years to go. They thought that they would be competing with things like Lord of the Rings, with things like Game of Thrones. Well, although Lord of the Rings of Power is an absolute joke, from a ratings perspective, even it dominated something like The Witcher Blood Origin, as bad as Rings of Power was. But that's what they have done to themselves. That's what Netflix has done by deciding to put these people in charge who are activists, who care far more about subverting the source material to push their own woke agenda. When you drive a star like Henry Cavill away, when you force him to quit because you refuse to tell the story that was actually intended, you decide to make all these different changes to fit your agenda, to fit your identity politics. You get what you fucking deserve. And this is a massive embarrassment for them. That it was only in the top 10 for one singular week before being overtaken by a bunch of other stuff that didn't have near the budget, didn't have the advertising, the marketing, or the expectation that something like The Witcher Blood Origin had. This is a pathetic failure for Netflix, and it just capped off one of the worst years they've had in history. And for all intents and purposes, right now, it certainly looks like the Witcher franchise is dead for Netflix, but it's their own fault. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.